Welcome back. We're here to look ahead to Sunday's Premier League game between West Brom and Chelsea. Barnes Chelsea the champions, 2 games, still no win, and last time out against City, a huge blow.
Yeah, a hugely disappointing result that was, wasn't it? You look at how good they were last season, so much better than every other team in the league, but they're just not reaching those heights against Manchester City. They were well beaten in the first half. Could have been more than the 3-0, but for Begovic, he had a really good game filling in for Courtois, who is back this week, which will be a plus. But Begovic arguably deserves to keep his place after that performance. Aguero could have had a few in the first half, could have had one inside the opening minute. Chelsea were just played off the park by City. They did improve after half time. Zuma came on for Terry. There's that big thing about Terry's substitution. So Mourinho saw the problem and rectified it somewhat, but there can be no arguments really that they deserve to lose that match by a few goals, which that wouldn't have happened last season. Mourinho's always been good against his rivals. I can't remember him being comprehensively beaten by one of his rivals by 3 goals to lose that match, to be so far second best in the first half. It's worrying times for Chelsea really, because against Swansea maybe they could point to Courtois' red card, but in truth Swansea were a match for them for the whole time. They just haven't been anywhere near as good, anywhere near the level they were last season. It's a big worry for them, even so early in the season. They will be starting to get concerned because they're already 5 points off Man City.
Certainly, and you just look at the players who were starred for them last season. Azar's been quiet. Costa's been he hasn't had good games. Fabregas, Terry, like you mentioned, their star players from last season all have had bad starts to the season, and they'd, like you say, be boosted potentially by the return of Courtois. But the reports today have said that they've won the race to sign Pedro, from Barcelona, and that's a big thing for them because United have been linked to them consistently for the last month or so. It's just we're just waiting for United to get confirmed as his new club, and now Chelsea have come in. That they've met the valuation that Barcelona have been holding out for, and he's certainly be a good player for them because all that experience he's got at Barcelona. He's a good finisher. That's something they certainly might need. And he offers you something different. Willian, he's quite direct, but Pedro much more intricate with his runs, and I think certainly that could be a great signing for them. And they certainly need some players to start either playing better or Pedro to come in and really light up the team because, like you say, at the moment they look really all over the place.
Yeah, I think Pedro should give them a boost. You'd assume he will come in the team for Willian. He had a good season last season. He was a Mourinho type of player. He worked very hard to get back. Could do stuff in attack, but mainly his main part of the role in the team was to press the defence and to win the ball back high up the field and help out defensively as well, and he did that very well. Pedro, he may not do that as much, but he'll give more creativity. He's a bit more like Hazard on the other side, and a 3 behind the strikers of Hazard, Oscar and Pedro is a very strong front 3. He'll definitely improve the team, especially with Cuadrado leaving, give them another option. I think they need a boost because, as you mentioned, their key players Fabregas has been surprisingly poor so far. He hasn't had a good game for them in a while now, which is, considering how well he played last season, how many assists he got to Costa, it's just not happening for him. He looked all at sea against Manchester City. He was just bypassed in midfield time and time again. John Terry, that half-time substitution was a very interesting one. First time he's ever been substituted under Mourinho in the Premier League. And there was talk after, there's some people saying this could be the beginning of the end for John Terry. I think that's very premature. He was the best defender in the Premier League last season. That shouldn't be forgotten, but there's talk that Mourinho sort of warned him before the City game of his poor form throughout pre-season and in the opening game of the season. It will be interesting to see if he starts this match with or Zuma comes in for him. I don't think he was any worse than Cahill against Man City in the first half. I think it was just a statement from Mourinho, perhaps another ploy to get him talking about something else rather than their poor performance after the match, just as he did with Swansea with the physios after that fairly poor performance. So it might be clever for Mourinho, but Terry will be a bit worried now. But for me, he's got not much to worry about because he's still their best defender. He's still the best defender in the Premier League, I think.
Yeah, certainly, I completely agree with that. I thought Terry was magnificent last season. In our first match preview for Chelsea, I said that I just loved watching Terry last year, the way he read the game, and certainly like many other players at Chelsea, they haven't started the season as well. And West Brom also a team who they haven't had the best starts of the season. First game they played City at home, and that was always going to be a tough game. You look at the way City have started the season, and they lose 3-0 at home, and next game, going to Watford, who had a really good start at Everton, and going to Watford, holding them to a 0-0 draw, I think is good because Watford, they've got a lot of attacking talent there. Deeney, Igalo, who were great last season, and I think Pulis after that, sort of losing 3-0 at home, he was always going to try and shore it up at the back, and I think certainly a 0-0 draw at Watford isn't the worst thing, but still without a goal in the Premier League, that's something they've got to put right quickly, and it's not an easy game here against Chelsea.
Yeah, Berahino missed a really good chance in that Watford game. There's 2 sitters he's missed in 2 games now, and that'll be a concern for him, especially maybe the transfer business, the transfer speculation around him is affecting him potentially, but they've had he's had a bid rejected from him from Tottenham now, which is be interesting to see if Tottenham come back with another bid, because Spurs need a striker. Whether they go for Austin Berahino or someone else remains to be seen, but if they can get Berahino, it'd be a good signing, him and Kane, because they play for each other, play for under 21s together. They've got a decent understanding if they were to play together up front. For me, I think Berahino should stay. I think he'll get more regular first team action at West Brom. I think West Brom, they could do some good stuff this season despite a fairly shaky start to the campaign. They need more players in. I think Pulis he said he's concerned about the transfer window they've had so far, but he has promised some more surprising signings. I think Fazio's a talk of £5 million from Tottenham. I think that'd be a decent signing to shore up defence, which we know is every Pulis side is built on the defence. So it'll be interesting to see between now and September 1st, the transfer deadline day, what they do in the market. But I think they do need some more transfers coming in. Rondon obviously made his debut off the bench against Watford, so he might start this weekend, which would be a big boost for them. But their chance over the season may hinge on the next couple of weeks in the transfer window, just how high they can go.
Certainly, I think the Fazio, if that deal with Spurs happens, it could potentially involve Berahino going the other way. And I think certainly if Berahino leaves, I think, like you say, it would be a good thing for him to stay. But I think if he does leave, it opens the door for Rondon to then come in. And I think Ricky Lambert should still do okay for them. So if Rondon, Lambert, I think that's a decent strike pairing up front there. And certainly you look at this game and, West Brom, they're having a great start, but they might think here that Chelsea are there for the taking after their poor start to the season. What's your prediction?
I'm predicting a response from Chelsea. They need a response. The players are good enough to have a response, and obviously they got Mourinho, who's the best in the business at it. I would say it's not an easy game. I don't think any away match against the Pulis side is going to be an easy game, but I'm backing a Chelsea win. I think 2-1 for them.
2-1, yeah. I think West Brom will get their first goal of the season, but like you, I'm going to go for a Chelsea win here. I'm going to go 3-1. So both picking Chelsea to win this one. Thanks for joining us.